a great honor and a privilege to introduce Walter Bingham, 97 years young. We're here in your beautiful apartment in Jerusalem. And Walter, you hold the Guinness World Book of Records as, they should say, the youngest, but you're actually the oldest active journalist and radio show host. You present Walter's World on Israel National Radio, Arutz Sheva, and the Walter Bingham File on Israel News, Talk Radio. And you write extensively in Jerusalem Post, and this was the most...
And in the Jerusalem Report.
And Jerusalem Report. And this is the article that appeared in the Jerusalem Post this previous week on Does the World Need Israel? And Walter, you are the who's who in Israel, because if we look at the pictures in your study, you've been with Rabbi Lau, you've been with Ruby Rivlin, Edelstein, you've been with the American ambassador, here you were the Japanese ambassador, and this was, the Japanese ambassador was recently, that was at the president's...
That was yesterday, or the day before, when they sent off the Israeli Olympic team. That was in the large hall of the president's house, president's residence, and all the Olympic team and the Paralympic team were there, and the heads of the Olympic organizations in Israel and the sports organizations, and they gave a nice send-off to the Olympians that are going to Tokyo now.
And here you have other pictures. There's with you and Charles Aznavour, and you mentioned about Charles and with Avram Fried and Mark Huckabee.
The top guy there, the top picture, is today's president of Austria, and then the American, the leaders of the minority and majority leaders of the House of Representatives and others.
And can I ask, when you saw Charles Aznavour, he said something quite interesting to you.
Yeah, well, that was in the president's house. He was there.
And what did he mention to you?
Oh, I don't remember. He simply said that he'd never met anybody older than him, because he was 6 months younger, and unfortunately he passed away. Now, soon after that.
Wow. And Walter,
but he was the most famous singer. He was like what's that other guy the other French singer from the war. Anyway,
he came to sing at Nokia Stadium, and he came often to Israel.
He's very famous.
And Walter, with all the dignitaries that you've met and interviewed, who stands out in particular? Or
no, I had conversations with all of them, and they were all very nice to me. They were all very nice to me, and usually it was at a place where we each had a glass of wine or something, so nobody stands out there. Look, you have to remember that these politicians are here today and gone tomorrow, and I'm still here. This is the point. Huckabee, who was he's still on television, but he's no longer a governor. They call him governor. And John Bolton, he was sort of disgraced in America, and others. They come, and this is the Prime Minister of Australia. They come and go, and it's very nice to meet them, and they're important persons. But even our president is finishing this month or next month. So it was nice to meet them, and to know them and to interview them. That's my job.
But I think it's more of a passion. It's more than a job. It's a passion.
I just did my job. Yeah. That's why I'm still doing it today at my age, because I love radio, and none of this is television. they're just pictures that we take when I speak with them.
And Walter, you write extensively now, also in the Jerusalem Post and also the Jerusalem Report, and your articles are phenomenal. They really are. They're very insightful, and you have such a wonderful take on what's happening in Israel and the world.
Thank you.
What can you mention about Israel today?
I'm glad we've got Israel. Israel will be here to stay. People want to destroy us, but they're not. They won't manage it. Look. Jews in general will always be here. You had all the big empires in the world, the Chinese Empire and the Russian Empire and the Byzantine Empire and all the different empires, all gone. And they all wanted to destroy us, and they've all gone, and we are here, and we will always be here. And the world, as I said in this last article, the world needs us because we are an exceptional people. We're trying to be a light unto the nations. It's a bit difficult today, but we somehow it's the education of our children, rather like the Asians. The Asians are similar. The Asians believe in education, and their children go a long way. We believe in education, and look what we have achieved. A million medicines that the world today uses is invented by Jews. Technology, we've got R&D places here from the world. We have something from Microsoft here. Excuse me. We're doing a lot of work, and we do a lot of it. Look, we've just, and the big thing that's coming up now, that big thing is drones. I'm just writing about it for my radio show that goes out tonight from before Shabbat in America. I'm not quite finished. The drones is a big thing. And the technology, how to stop them, because they're dangerous tools. Israel has just invented a system of laser to shoot down drones. We're in the forefront of technology, along with Silicon Valley.
And can I just ask you, Walter? You know, in your article, you actually even mentioned that Israel is the 100th smallest country in the world. And we're less than 1,000 of the world's population country-wise. Right. But yet the world media is so focused. We're under a microscope here. Why is it? Why is it that this last, I think 2 days ago in Tigray in Ethiopia, about nearly 60 people were killed in one strike, a strike, but that doesn't even make even the last page of a newspaper.
If it were to happen in Israel, it would be headlines around the world.
There'd be demonstrations around the world.
Around the corner from Israel is Cyprus, and half of Cyprus is illegally occupied by Turkey, and the only country that recognizes that occupation is Turkey themselves. And nobody bothers about that. This is fashionable. You see, Jew hatred is connected with Israel. The whole business of BDS and so on against Israel, that's really only an excuse to hate Jews. That's all it is, and that's why Israel is in the limelight. And of course, the so-called Palestinians, who never were. Are very good in publicity, and they will not rest. They are out all the time against Israel, and they tell their sob stories of the terrible things that we do to them, which are not true. There's the odd. We have an odd black sheep, of course, but they're not true. Palestine, the whole national movement started in 1964 with Arafat. Before that, there were no Palestinians. Didn't exist. They were Syrians. It was Greater Syria. And what about Second Front? What about the two states when the Jordanians illegally were here from 1948 to 1967. Nobody then spoke about
occupation or
Palestinians, occupation. It's all to do with Jew hatred.
But you, having been born in Germany, having gone on the Kindertransport, you've experienced it.
I saw it, and we're living today in times equivalent to 1930s. And now I'm not saying that the ultimate will happen like in the 1930s, because we have the State of Israel, but the continuous anti-Semitism all around the world, that is happening exactly like in the 30s. Only they're not getting to the same conclusion of this. They're trying to succeeding in killing so many of us, but it's the same thing. And
the difference is,
and the world has
we have a place to go to. We have the State of Israel.
The world Jewish population has to wake up to that this is the place they have to come. And it's not going to get better in the world. It's not going to get better. It's
you don't see a bright future for...
No, absolutely not for the diaspora. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And it won't be that they will only be able to escape with a small suitcase. They will be able to emigrate normally. But if they don't, it's getting worse. They're living in a bubble. I know about England. They're living in a bubble in London, for instance, and that bubble is going to burst. And when it does, then they'll wake up.
It's a repeat of history, unfortunately.
You see, it's this is the thing is that they prefer. It's the business, it's the income, it's the money that they're making. They have a business and they don't want to give it up. The German Jews also didn't want to give it up. It was given up for them. But they have to realize that their quality of life will deteriorate with this anti-Semitism. You can't walk in some of the areas in London if you wear a kippah. Now those Jews who don't wear kippah, tzitzit, and they can still manage to walk around, but if somebody notices them, then they may get attacked as well. I'm sorry, I have a grandson and 2 great-grandchildren there, and
you worry for them?
Yeah, exactly. I'm concerned. I'm concerned. They don't realize it yet. They live in a bubble in northwest London, which is a Jewish area, and don't know.
But Walter, I'm just from your history that your parents realized that, in a way, the writing was on the wall, and they sent you on the Kindertransport, which must have been an exceptionally difficult decision.
Well, the Kindertransport parents were the heroes. It was 5 minutes before the war broke. Everybody knew there was going to be a war, and it wasn't good for Jews at that time. It's not going to be any better during the war. They knew that, and yet they took their children and put them, didn't know where they were. Some went to foster parents, and some went to into hostels, and some went to family, and some, like me, went into Zionist youth establishments. And the parents send the children away knowing that there will be a war and that there may be a long time before they see them again. And I tell you that 99.9% of parents never saw their children again, and they actually never lived.
You were one of the very rare that you saw your mother.
Reunited my mother. My father, of course, perished. But they were heroes, absolute heroes, putting their children on the train. My mother left me. I was a relatively naive 15-and-a-half-year-old, not like they are today, the children, and saw me again in 1945, when I was already, I think, 22. And an experienced soldier, having experienced the battles of the landings of the beaches of Normandy. So it was an amazing experience, and it was the most emotional moment in my life, to be reunited with my mother. But I was a different person. and she was a different person. And I missed my youth. I didn't have a youth at all. The early years in Germany were very difficult and troublesome at school and so on. And in my life in England, I had nobody to guide me. I lived in a community for some years, and I had no one to help me. So I had to wake up. You know, it was hard. It was hard.
You had to fend for yourself.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. I never had an education until much later when I went to university. I had university education, and that was much later. And that showed me that I had a very good first degree and a second degree, and it showed me that if I hadn't had a normal youth, I might have been some kind of academic politician, not a politician, no. Academic, or somebody. Like this, I was a nobody. I went through my early youth as a nobody. I got married and struggled to make a living until I dropped into this niche of journalism, and that didn't pay. That didn't pay well. I did some acting, you know, and advertisements and stuff like that. That paid much better. I was a Santa in Harrods and in Selfridges. But these were some of the facets of my life. But it was a peculiar life. It was a disjointed life. And when I was married, I had to do different jobs to work. And if I had a normal youth, I might have been. Who knows?
But look what you've achieved. You here.
I achieved late in life.
You really did. To be with the chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Lau, with the president of Israel, with the speaker of the Knesset, with all the visiting dignitaries, with the Japanese ambassador. And these are just a sample of the many. Avram Fried.
The German ambassador up there, he's gone now. He's in China.
It's amazing that and to appear in Jerusalem Post, and your articles are widely read and commentated on. You really have made.
Thank you.
You are an example. You are somebody we can all look up to. You are.
I have a box.
You're an icon.
I have a box full of of magazines and newspapers were all written about me, and every week, if not every 2 weeks somebody comes to interview me, I wonder what's wrong.
Wow.
I was yesterday had a very brief interview on the radio in English, and Khan, the English radio. I haven't heard it. And
you're at the TV studios, the TV studios.
That I saw that they showed me around, yes, and Arut Sheva now has a studio as well, a very nice studio. Nothing like that what I saw yesterday. That was phenomenal. But Arut Sheva has a studio in the Tachana Merkazit, in the central bus station. There is a commercial area there,
And Walter, you enjoy what you do.
Oh, wonderful! It keeps me young. Look, I'm meeting all these young journalists, all older. I mean, they're all 40, maximum, 20 to 40, and they all sort of come and visit me, or I see them, and they all know me. And that keeps me young. And having been with all the Olympians the other day, all these young people. Strong. It was nice. I feel good. And you know, I don't realize my age. That I want sound bites. Everybody wants sound bites. So I tell them, on a good day I feel like 40, on a bad day like 50, and today's a good day. You know? And that's what happens. And the only time I know that I'm old is when I'm going out of my house and there's a hills in Jerusalem, and the hills bother me a bit. You know, that's difficult. Or when I pass a mirror. Now I can't cover up the mirrors because we don't do that in Judaism until somebody dies. But I pass a mirror and then I realize, oh, Yeah.
No, Walter, you look amazing. You've always looked amazing.
I'm old.
But Walter, I used to say I'd Meerwestrim, and you said no, more. And
No,
the
no,
truth is,
Meerwestrim, that means at 120, that's what you would say, because Moses lived to 120. But today, today somebody of 90 is like somebody who used to be of 70.
Yeah.
So 120 is in too short a time for me, because I'm always thinking back at the destruction of the Twin Towers in America, and that was nearly 20 years ago.
And look how quick that's
And
gone.
that was just like yesterday. So another 20 years or so, that's too quick. So where I go to my synagogue, they say at Me'os Monim at 280. So I say I'll accept that, and when we get there we'll talk again.
Absolutely. So I just want to thank you, Walter. It's been an incredible honor and a privilege to be with you. So thank you so much, and I am so grateful that I know you and I read your articles. And to all our viewers, please see Walter's your incredible articles that you write in Jerusalem Post and the Jerusalem Report, and on Arutz Sheva and Israel National News
and Israel News Talk Radio.
It's wonderful, and we're so grateful to you, Walter. You are really somebody we can all strive to emulate.
And if you're in Australia, of course, by any chance you can hear me on JR Radio 88 FM.
Gee, that's wonderful.
They take my programs.
And here, this is from your back in England before, and
this is a different phase of my
and
life.
Lionel, it says here the real McCoy, and you really are the real McCoy. You really, really are.
Open that door. Open that door.
Wow, this is from it's amazing. So you really have had such a tremendous, varied,
Multifaceted.
multifaceted and amazing.
And I'm doing some more things, you know. You know, I jumped out of an aeroplane at 13,000 feet. Not alone. I was tied to an instrument.
But I think that was a world record.
I'm going to do that again. No, the 102 is the world record for jumping out of for skydiving.
102.
102.
So you need to beat that record.
I'm going to do another one.
And you weren't nervous when you went up?
No. It's easy. It's nothing to it. The only odd feeling is when you sit at the by the open door there. It's open. There's a curtain. You take off, and you sit and your feet dangle outside. You sit inside the airplane with your feet dangling out before you actually jump. That's an interesting feeling. And then you go. There's nothing to it. There's actually nothing to it.
It's amazing.
And then you free fall for about a minute from that height.
And Walter, this article that I read, and I was so engrossed in it. Does the world need Israel? What are your predictions, or what is your feelings about the state of Israel and the future here?
I mentioned before, the future of Israel is bright. We'll always be here, and we will increase, and more people will come, hopefully, and we'll always be here now. Look, the Jew always stood at the grave of his persecutor. Throughout history, they tried to persecute us. They went down, and we are here. Always, even in recent times, the very recent one, under the Nazis, they wanted to destroy us, and we we're at the grave of the persecutors, and throughout history, we'll always see those who want to persecute us going down. Doesn't work. Hashem is with us, you know, and we have a very good general too. He's the world's best general, and he knows how to look after us. So, look, we people said, "Oh, you're saying you're the chosen people. Who do you think you are?" Well, we are indeed chosen, but not chosen because we are better. We are very intelligent and clever, but we are not better than anybody else. We're just chosen to show the world how to live morally.
Ola Goyim, light unto the nations.
A light unto the nations, yes. So that's wrongly interpreted. This chosen people is another anti-Semitic thing. It's a wrong interpretation. We're not chosen because we are better than anyone. But of course, it's a physical law of physics. If you press on something, it presses back. And if you try to push us down, we pull back, and that's why we are trying to develop to be smart and clever and inventive, and the whole world actually has benefit from what we do. This is the interesting thing. They don't like it. They use our medicines at the same time as they want to destroy us. The medicines that we invented and everything else, and the computer chips and what have you, that was invented here in part. And it doesn't work. And that's why we have to survive. We are surviving and always will. And we are bettering ourselves. And all the world, as I said, all the world takes the benefit from what we do, our inventions.
But we share it also with the rest of the world.
Well, we share it. It's a moral obligation to share it. It's not, we know it, we have to share it. So, but we do. I hope, can you?
We're ready.
I've been in this business for 50 plus years. I once interviewed some Christian bishop here, and he had a diocese that stretched from Iran down to Tunisia, and in my interview I said to him once, it seems to me, Bishop, that you hate Israel. And he said, if you say that again, I'll sue you. I said, be my guest.
I think Walter is inspiring the new generations of journalists. Anyone who sees someone who's been on the job for decades and has spanned from the time when we were sending things by telegram to the time when we were tweeting one another, understands that the true nature of journalism is the people behind all of this tech and all of the communications. I think Walter's doing a fantastic job.
Walter is the oldest correspondent, not just in Israel, not just in the Middle East, but the entire world, which is mean that this is really a reason for celebration, for integrity, for professionals, and for someone that is exactly the opposite of fake news.
95 years old to jump out of a plane.
I wanted to do that last year for my 94th. I look for crazy things. I'm a crazy guy. I once took an airplane on my own from London to Israel. So I know the sky. Anyway, skydiving without being in a capsule like an aeroplane brings you very close to Hashem.
Awesome. Jordan, what do you think of the skydive?
I'm super fun.
Super fun, man. How about you? Oh, I'm ready to watch. All right, guys. So we're very excited. And we'll meet you there.
But then we went to Haifa Airport.
Awesome. So we'll see
pyramid. That's what you see is not the parachute. That's just the parachute.
How was the feeling? Walter must have been incredible.
No parachute yet.
It's free fall.
200 kilometers. Still free fall. It's 4 kilometers high or something. That's the parachute. Now you're there. It's pointing to where we land. You can see the green.
And you weren't nervous?
You're hanging there. Just look out and see everything. They came to grab my feet because I'm old. I shouldn't hurt myself.
Amazing.
You did it, man.
You did it, Walter.
Well done.